So this video is one that has been highly requested, and it is about self-love and how to start loving yourself. Like, at first I wanted to give like a list of things you can do to start practicing self-love. None of that really felt right, only because like you could Google that, like you can Google how to love yourself in 10 steps. The best way for me to give insight on this topic is to go based off of personal experience rather than to just give you a whole bunch of facts that you can find anywhere on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's such a personal journey. Like when you take that step and decide that you want to start loving yourself, which a lot of people don't do. So I applaud you for even wanting to, embark on a self-love journey, because it's not easy. It's not. Self-love is the foundation for everything that you do in life. Whatever you choose to do or the people that you choose to have in your life, it's all a reflection of the way you feel about yourself, or like the amount of love that you have for yourself. So without self-love, you won't have the confidence or the courage to go after, your dreams or your career goals. Without self-love, you will allow people to abuse you and mistreat you, and you won't recognize when there are people who genuinely love you, who want to be there for you. If you don't see that love within yourself, you will push good people away, and you will constantly welcome, poor treatment into your life. A lot of us lack self-love because we just didn't receive it growing up. Like, we didn't receive love growing up. If you watch my channel, then you know that I always talk about, when you're a child, when you're a baby, obviously you can only see yourself through your parents' eyes, or like the people around you who are supposed to nurture you. You can't take care of yourself as a child. You're helpless. So the people around you who raised you, they're like life or death for you. So it makes sense that you would take, their view of you as law, their view of you as, the definition of who you are and like what you're worth and what you deserve. And if you didn't have people around you who had love for themselves, then most likely they did not love or nurture you correctly. Which is another reason why self-love is so important, because, once you have children, if you don't have that love for yourself, there's no way you can instill that within your kids. So if you lack self-love because the people who raised you didn't instill that in you, try not to have resentment towards them, because more than likely they didn't have it for themselves, so they couldn't give it to you either. And then on top of that, stepping into a society that's so based on like your looks, that's so based off of your achievements, their external environment. And a lot of people fail to focus inward and have that self-love inside of them first, as opposed to just focusing on their appearance and their career and how much money they have, and that's why so many people who reach those pinnacles of success, they still feel broken on the inside, and they still feel empty, because they have not reached that place of self-love within themselves or self-worth within themselves. They're going based off of things that are external. I would say that to start your self-love journey first, you have to first shed any type of shame that you have about yourself. So if there are things about you that are not necessarily healthy, if you're ashamed of those parts of yourself, then you can't reach self-love from a place of shame. You have to accept yourself in your entirety in order to even start loving yourself, okay? So, okay, for example, with me, with my self-love journey, the first thing I had to do was acknowledge my codependency. That's one of like my biggest things that I battle with, which I'm starting a separate channel for, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, codependency is something that I, battle with the most. And it's something that, I used to be very ashamed of, only because like on the outside I look really well put together, and people are just like, oh my God, you're so intelligent, you're so beautiful, whatever else. And I felt like I always had to put up this kind of facade, because I was really extremely damaged on the inside, especially when it came to relationships. And I was ashamed that I would choose people who were very abusive towards me. And I was ashamed about the ways that I would respond when they would abandon me, or like just discard me and throw me in the trash. Like, texting them back to back to back, like emailing them back to back to back, like just getting extremely like stalkerish and obsessive. And I used to be ashamed of that. I used to be like, oh my god, like I hope that they never like expose me for that, or like they never like, I just never want people to know that I'm this crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because if you struggle with codependency, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When somebody is about to abandon you, it's like your emotions get like hijacked and take, you know, just, I'll talk more about that in my actual channel. But I just never wanted anybody to know that that part of me was inside of me, and I was ashamed of that part of me, and I had to come to terms with the fact that that's there for a reason. And if I want to heal that and practice self-love, I have to accept that part of me, you know, like you have to accept your shadow side before you can move into a space of self-love. So it would help if you actually would write out the things about yourself that you might be somewhat ashamed of, and then in that way you can kind of digest them when you see them physically on paper. And then you could start moving into fixing these things and changing them, but not from a place of judgment, you know? Okay, I have to keep on like stopping this video because this video is kind of hard to get through, because like I said, this a self-love journey is not easy. It's really not. And I understand why people just kind of go straight for the external and try to, you know, bypass the internal work, because it's really not, it's not easy. It's not something that's easy to face. So yeah, that would be my first step, would to be to shed any type of shame that you might have. And I would say that the next step after that would be to detox your life. Like if there are people in your life who just don't wish you well and they don't want to see you do well. Sorry, I'm gonna try my best to make it through this video. Like I might have to stop in between takes to cry because y'all know I have a Pisces moon and it's Pisces season. But this journey is one, like I said, that's kind of tough, because like the declutter process is painful, because it's like you don't realize how many people you actually have around you that don't want you to do well. And that's upsetting, like that you have lived a large portion of your life around people who by title they're supposed to want you to do well, or you know, by definition of what they, you know, what they have been assigned to be, they should want you to do well, but they don't. That might not be that easy, because sometimes those are the people that are closest to you. It's only sad momentarily though, because after they're gone, that's when you know, you can make room for self-love and make room for people who actually do love you and want you to do well. So, and then after that, you want to start detoxing your habits and like your behavior that no longer serve you either. Just like you got rid of the people who no longer serve you, you need to get rid of the habits that no longer serve you. So any destructive habits that you take part in, you know, it's time for them to go. Anything that's just not good for your health, that's not good for your mental health. I can't get too specific here, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Okay, yeah, yes I can. I can think of something. I had a tendency to, whenever I felt really, really overwhelmed by a thought, or like just by anything in general, I would just run to my room and like hide under my covers and sleep, like sleep the problem away. And while that does help, you know, it helps with my anxiety, it also hinders me in terms of like facing the problem head on and working through the emotions instead of running from them. So that's a habit I had to abandon, and I had to start like really diving into my emotions so that I could work through them. So any habits that you might have, and the first thing that comes to your mind, that's what you need to get rid of. When I say bad habits, get rid of whatever came to your mind first, you know what I'm saying? And be gentle with yourself. And I felt like that needed to be the next tip, because I feel like the last few tips I gave, they can be a little overwhelming, because it's a lot of like emotional purging that comes with these things, you know? It's basically like you're rebirthing yourself, and you're like re-raising yourself almost, and like going back to like yourself as a child, and instilling that love inside of you that you never got. And it can be very emotionally taxing. It can. And so I think that's why it came to me to say, be gentle and be patient with yourself through this process. An exercise that I like to do in terms of self-love is also writing out, you know, my strengths and the things about me that I actually love, like my best features, my best qualities. And I'll do that as many times as I need to during the day. If I have to do it in the morning and at night, if I have to do it in the middle of the day, I'll just write out like a list of things that I just like about myself. Like, I like the fact that I'm compassionate. I like the fact that I'm good at makeup. I like the fact that I'm good at doing hair. Like, I like the fact that I have a big heart and that I want to see everybody do well. Like, I just write out a list of things that, like, I love about myself, but somehow I always overlook. And I feel like I always overlook those things because other people overlook them in me. And so I overlook them in myself. So it's important for you to just sit down and actually just write out a list of things that you love about yourself and celebrate yourself. The same way you celebrate other people, you should be celebrating yourself just as much, And another exercise that I like to do, I got this from a woman named Louise. She is amazing, absolutely amazing. I will leave her in the description box down below. I'll leave a link to her video of 10 steps on how to love yourself. I swear, it's the only video you'll ever need on self-love, okay? Besides this one, you need this one too. And one of the things she mentioned is something called mirror work. And mirror work is basically like you look in the mirror and you just tell yourself that you love yourself. You tell yourself that you're gorgeous. You just like speak highly of yourself. And at first it feels really strange. It feels like you're lying to yourself. But that's okay. Just keep on doing it anyway. And it's like it's reprogramming your subconscious mind. And another exercise that I just learned about, I don't even know where I learned this exercise from. But it was this exercise where they said to appreciate every part of your body separately and tell every part of your body that you love it. So like you start like toes, I love you toes. I love you feet. I love you ankles. Like, I love you legs. Thank you for walking me around throughout the day. Like, literally every part of your body you tell it like I love you, and then you thank that part of your body for functioning well. Like, how many times have you actually thanked your heart for like pumping blood through your body, keeping you alive? Like, how many times have you thanked like your lungs, like thanked your brain, thanked your teeth, like just thank like the parts of your body for functioning and serving you and helping you walk around healthy and breathing and alive all day. Like, those little things help. So show appreciation for every part of your body. And like I said, this journey is so personal. That's why I said it's hard to give like exact tips on what to do. But like, once you declutter your life and once you start really appreciating yourself, I feel like everything will kind of fall into place from there. Like, you'll be guided on your path from there. Like, okay, the thing that really pushed me fully forward into my self-love journey was definitely my last relationship that ended. It ended months ago. And I'm in a new relationship, and I'm in a healthy relationship, like I stated before. And I guess I want to point that out too, that, don't think that once you reach a place where you feel like you can get into a healthy relationship, like, don't underestimate that residual bad energy that you may have been carrying along with you, like that sense of self-shame or like self-doubt. That doesn't go away like once you find like a good partner, because my boyfriend, he is amazing and supportive and so loving and so caring, and that still doesn't take away like the self-doubt or like the hurt sometimes. So like, your self-love journey is really about you. Like, literally, it's about you. And there are people who are in your life that love you, that can help you. But it really all comes down to how you feel about yourself and how much work you're willing to put into yourself. So I had to, point that out. Just don't think that, just try to remember that this is a solo journey, but, get help when you need it. But remember that, this is a relationship that you're building with yourself. And like I said, with my last relationship, that's what really catapulted me into, my self-love journey, because I never really realized how much I didn't love myself until that relationship, where I was willing to put up with so much. Like, thinking back on the things that I was willing to put up with, like, just in the name of being in love with somebody, quote unquote. And he treated me really, really badly, and my self-esteem was like destroyed after that relationship, and I never felt so low in my life. And it still hurts. Like, it still hurts, but it's like, you got to be thankful for those experiences too, because those are the experiences that really send you into self-love when you meet people who are just like a reflection of how much you actually don't love yourself, because you're willing to put up with how much, like, anything that they do to you and all the pain and all the, like, the heartache that you know you deep down you know you don't deserve. You're willing to put up with that. And if you continuously run into people like that and like relationships like that, that is what's going to be your, like, your compass to steer you in the right direction. Like, you're going the wrong way when you constantly meet people who you're willing to put up with mistreatment, you know. And when you start to choose people who choose you, that's how you know you're going in the direction of self-love. You see what I'm saying? Like, people who treat you well and people who make you feel good, because we all deserve to feel loved and feel good. But it's like, that has to start within yourself first, and not even like in a cliche type of way, like you have to love yourself first. Like, no, literally, like, you have to really see the value in yourself, so that when other people don't see it, you can still see it and you can push forward. Because when you don't see the value in yourself and you don't love yourself, people can take your self-worth with them, like when they leave you. And they can dictate the way that you see yourself on a day-to-day basis, you know. And you don't want to give anybody that type of power. So you want to get to a place where you really love yourself and you really know yourself. Like, I was talking to my little cousin and you know, my cousin, she's short, she's dark skinned, and I said, what if when you were arguing with somebody, y'all were like throwing insults back and forth, and they called you like, oh, that's why you're a tall white bitch, you know? And she started laughing like, that's ridiculous, because I'm short and I'm dark skinned. So if somebody were to call that out in an argument, I'll just be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And I told her, like, yeah, and that's the point that you want to get to with any insult that anybody throws at you. You know, when somebody calls you ugly, I want you to get to the point where you laugh. Like, what? Like, I know I'm not ugly. I know I'm very beautiful. Like, I know that I'm highly favored. Like, I know that I'm very loved. Like, whatever somebody says to you, you want to get to a point where it just sounds outrageous and you laugh at it because you know who you are. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to get to that point in your self-love journey. I know I'm going to have to do another video where I go more in depth on each step, but I feel like this video was meant as like a general overview in how to actually start your journey and the purpose of your journey and where you want to get to with your self-love journey, you know. And like I said before, I have another channel that I want to start in terms of recovering from my codependency. I will keep you guys updated on that, and I will definitely expand on this video in terms of self-love, going into more practical steps and details, you know, and it's like the psychology and the science behind it and things like that. So this is more like a philosophical overview of the video, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video and if it helped you, and subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.